Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be reviewing the Mercier Flawless Fusion Ultra Longwear Foundation. Such a long name. Initially when I bought this foundation, I actually bought the color Maple. And if you saw my last tutorial, I told you that when I put it on, it did look a bit yellow. And it really looked more yellow in the sunlight. I noticed the second time I wore it that I really didn't like the undertone of it. It was way too yellow for me. So I actually picked up the color Suntan, and that's what I have on my face today. And I actually like this color a lot better. It's more on the neutral side, but it still has some of that yellow undertone to it. So I have to say that I've really been enjoying this foundation. I've already worn it 4 times. I've worn it 4 days total. So I've worn this foundation 4 times, and in the 4 times that I've worn it, the first time that I actually applied the foundation, it was with MAC Prep and Prime Skin Base Visage and the Milk Blur Stick. So I use this in my T-zone, I use this everywhere else. When I applied it that day, it literally stayed on about 8 to 9 hours. The second time that I applied it with the Smashbox Photo Finish Primerizer, primer and moisture in one, this here, and then I also added to my T-zone the Sephora Beauty Amplifier. And with these two, it actually stayed on all day long as well. I mean, when I say all day long, I mean like 9 hours, you know, maybe 10 at the most. But for me, it was an all-day wear. I actually wore this to work, and so I'm in and out of my office at work, and so I'm in the heat sometimes. Now, when I did get really sweaty, it didn't lift, it didn't move off of my skin. It didn't like separate, it didn't go anywhere. It just looked pretty good. I mean, it still stayed intact. When I got back into an air-conditioned area, I actually cooled down, and then I just barely had to touch it up. And basically when I say touch it up, it's like using like just a tissue or something that's where the makeup's not really gonna come off on it. Now, it's not transfer resistant. It will transfer on clothing, but other than that, this foundation was really long wearing. Now, today I actually applied it with the Smashbox Radiance Primer. Now, this primer comes in the jar, and it also comes in a tube. And on my T-zone, I put the MAC Prep and Prime Skin Refined Zone Treatment. So I used this and this Radiance Primer today to actually apply it on my skin. I haven't tested the wear of this, but I used this today. Now, with these two products, it lasted pretty much 8 to 9 hours. Now with the Milk Blur Stick, it did kind of oil up in my T-zone, but not enough to where I'm like, oh, I wouldn't wear it again. So with those two products, I really think that there was good longevity. With these two products, the foundation looked flawless. I didn't get oily in my T-zone, and it was hot some of those days that I wore it, a couple of those days that I wore it. I mean, it's hot every day, but I was out in the heat the days that I wore it with the Beauty Amplifier and the Smashbox. With this, like I said, the longevity was probably about 9 to 10 hours with this. I don't usually wear foundation for 24 hours. This foundation just claims that it's ultra long wear. It doesn't really say how many hours it's supposed to last. But even if it's a 12-hour, 24-hour foundation, not a lot of people wear their foundation for a long period of time, like 24 hours. So if it's just a work day and maybe you're going, maybe say out to dinner right after work, this is gonna last you. It's a beautiful, beautiful foundation. It applies really well. Initially, I applied this with a beauty blender, a damp beauty blender. And when I applied it, I noticed that I had to really work at it. And it just didn't work for me with the beauty blender. I mean, I really had to keep pressing in the foundation, and I had to keep blending it in, and it just didn't work for me as well. So what I did, and you'll actually see the application in a part of this video, is I applied it with a Sigma flat top kabuki brush. Any brush really, I think, will be helpful, but during this application I actually used a flat top kabuki brush, and I'm telling you, it goes on seamlessly with a brush. Laura Mercier states that either you're to use their sponge or your fingertips. I rarely put on my foundation with my fingertips, rarely, ever. And a sponge I do use, but like I said, I used it with a sponge and I didn't like the application as well as I liked it with the brush. So in the application part of this video, you're gonna see me use a brush instead of a sponge. Now, it does say that, it says, and let me read you what's on the back of the box. It says, Laura's longest wearing foundation seamlessly fuses to skin with a weightless layer that looks, fits, and feels like second skin. And I totally agree with that. It's weightless, it doesn't feel cakey, it doesn't feel heavy. I mean, touching it, it's just soft to the touch, and it looks really soft on the skin. It says, moving with your every move, skin enhancing pigments fused with ultra longwear for our most modern flawless. Medium to full coverage that's naturally you, leaves a matte finish that's never dull or flat. I would agree. I would agree that it has a matte finish, but it's a soft matte finish, like it says here, never dull or flat. You're not gonna look dull, you're not gonna look flat with this. It just looks really soft on the skin, and it just feels good on the skin. I mean, I'm gonna wear it tonight. We're going out to dinner with some friends, and I really don't feel like I have foundation on my face. It just feels really light. By the way, guys, my hands are clean, so I'm touching my face with clean hands, not dirty hands. But I love it. I love this foundation. It's gonna be one of my favorite foundations to wear out. The color range is pretty wide. When I went to Nordstrom's, they had probably, I would say, about 20 to 25 different colors in this Laura Mercier foundation. I've tried other Laura Mercier foundations, like the Silk Cream foundation. I didn't like it. It didn't work for me. And I tried, what was the other one that I tried? I tried the I think it's called Cashmere. I'm not sure if that's the name of it or not, but I tried that one. It didn't work for me. This is probably the only foundation that's worked for me from her line. And she has great products. I've used her bronzers, I've used highlighters. I really like a lot of the stuff that she makes, but I have just not been able to find a foundation, and this foundation is just amazing. It really is, guys. It is long wearing, it's beautiful on the skin, and it is one of my favorite foundations right now, especially for evening wear. I wore it to work. Now, it was a face full of makeup on those days, and usually at work I don't wear a face full of makeup, but those days I wanted to test it out for you guys. So anyway, it's a great foundation, and I hope I've given you enough information on how well it applies and what it looks like, and also the different primers that I used with this foundation. joining me. I hope you like this review. Let me know if you want me to review any other products down below, and I hope to see you soon. Thanks, bye.